Good morning. Scott from Aristocob.com here.
And Seth.
Together, the three of us, we are Mark Woodburn's Breakfast Club. Welcome back. Welcome, boy.
Howdy, Homer.
And yes, it's sweaty and hot. So, we're going to start out today by lighting up some mystery tobacco. I discovered this floating around in my van, and I remembered, you know what, I have quite a bit more of this as well. And I thought we would smoke it, and then I'd get Boy's opinion of it. And then I'm going to make some of this available to you. So there's value in you continuing to watch, as well as find some information about this down in the doobly-doo.
So is it really a mystery? Do you know what it is?
I know what it is.
So it's not a mystery. It's
this is a
secret.
The mystery was kind of
secrets are no fun.
Yeah, it's a secret. It was a bit of a mystery. It was a mystery as to how in the world did this exist, and I wasn't aware of it, and I wasn't consuming it.
Is it meat flavored?
Well, give it a
That'd
shot, and you see what you think. It is a black Cavendish, and
along the dark and mysterious lines, I saw an addition to the lighter bro that you can purchase these days. And I'll make a black one. It's a clip. It's because this here is not a clip. They have a attachable clip that actually is pretty clever. It can slide down here. It goes around the lighter when you slide it into the pouch. And so right into these holes, it slides down there and holds it on. And so you can clip it on your hip. If you want to carry around
I have even less interest in the lighter bro. I'm telling you, I don't care for it. I like the mini Bic. That works fine for me. Makes me happy. Keeps me lit.
Remind me. I found another pocket tool. I want us to get and review. Yeah.
Another
it's
like a wallet kind of a pocket
yeah.
tool? Okay.
Yeah. Two potentially. One definitely.
So for the past week, I have been wanting to see the movie Love and Mercy. Love and Mercy being a movie mostly about Brian Wilson. Of Beach Boys fame. And when I was in Dallas, I had intended to watch it, but then things got messed up and I wasn't able to see it. No big deal, I'll see it when I get back home. Well, that was a big deal because there were no theaters within 60 miles of us here in the Piedmont Triad. That's Greensboro, Winston-Salem, High Point, North Carolina. Not a single theater was showing it last week. So last night I searched again, and lo and behold, one theater had one showtime on Friday night in Greensboro. So Boy and I went over there at 9:50 last night to see this movie. Now, we have this little tradition. We started it several years ago where either before or after the movie, we'll snap a selfie in front of the poster of the movie. And we've been doing that since before there were selfies, before they became popular. Well, there was no poster for this movie. At this theater. No poster at all. And so that should have been the first sign that, that and the fact that it wasn't showing anywhere was the first sign that something was amiss. We get into the theater. They are starting to show the preview, so we're running just a tad late. And how many people total, including us, were in the theater?
4.
Were there 4?
Someone else came in.
Oh, went way up to the back. He disappeared quickly, though.
Yeah. There were 4 people. Total. But the showing wasn't until 9:50, and as I pointed out to Dad, most of the people that know who the Beach Boys are, it's way past their bedtime.
Yeah, that's probably true. Now, first off, I'll tell you, it delves...
An early bird. If they had an early bird showing, they'd be there.
It delves quite a bit into Brian Wilson's psychosis, which you can't talk about that whole thing without it. But what was odd about it is it kept switching back and forth to the mid-60s to, I would say, probably the
early 90s.
Early 90s. And that's 92. Why they have two actors playing the role of Brian Wilson.
John Cusack,
who plays the older, right,
with Elizabeth Banks.
John Cusack, though, didn't look enough like Brian Wilson to me. I eventually was able to get into it and not judge that. But, he's John Cusack.
But he looked crazy enough.
I guess.
He did the psychotic
as an actor, the character. Yes, he did a great job. He did, but like I said, the fact that he didn't look enough like Brian Wilson. The fact that I've grown up knowing Brian Wilson. I've watched every documentary, from good to bad that's on YouTube, and long before YouTube, watched these documentaries and TV shows and things. But anyway, the music was good, and the music was done so well. Who's the young actor that played?
I don't know his name.
But he was in Little Miss Sunshine. Is the one movie that I remember him
Yeah,
being
he's the older brother in Little Miss Sunshine, the one that's into Nietzsche and
very emo,
very socialist. Yeah, older brother in Little Miss Sunshine. He's been in other stuff, but yeah, he was excellent.
Yeah, not the suicidal gay uncle who is Steve Carell, right?
Right.
But the big brother. He did fantastic, and he sang. And you could tell that he was singing live. It wasn't him lip syncing to Brian Wilson. Mm-hmm. He did a wonderful job. And it wasn't a lot of singing. It was some of the times that you can see Brian on YouTube, for example, where he did the acoustic, him at a piano doing the demo for Surf's Up. Mm-hmm. Did a great job on that.
And it looked like he was actually playing the piano, too. And they pulled back. He looked to be...
Maybe. He might have been.
I think they were showing wide shots of him playing the piano. John Cusack was absolutely not doing that. He absolutely did not learn the piano. And in fact, there's one scene that really bothered me because...
You're hearing a bass line being played.
No, you're hearing a high treble line, high notes, and he's playing on the left-hand side of the piano. So they messed that one up big time, which hurt my feelings. But yeah, he did the other kid did great. I don't think that they redid most of the songs with the actors. I think most of what they did in the movie was original.
And so much of what you were hearing, there was, as a way of kind of showing the voices in Brian's head, is you could hear actual snippets of songs and actual voice recordings that, again, you can find them on YouTube, where they were recording tracks and demos and you were hearing the guys kind of arguing. That was all echoing around in Brian's head, and that was done really well. And the fact that they, every couple of minutes, were skipping back and forth from young to old, at first was a little, gosh, why are they doing that? But then you realize they're doing that because it's all such a blur for Brian in this, you know.
And it shows parallel parts. So, I mean, you get to see, you when you realize in the old... or in the more recent footage that he's just crazy. You can see it coming. See it coming in the older stuff. And so you're looking for it. So you're looking for very, very subtle things where he's
using LSD for the first time.
Or even long before that, dealing with his father, and who's just
not a lot
manipulative.
A lot less showing of his dad than I expected them to do, but enough that you see that he just wanted his dad's approval, even though he knew that his dad was mean. Anyway, would you recommend that movie?
Oh yeah.
Would you recommend it for a Beach Boys fan?
Absolutely.
Or a different kind of a? I would say it was much of it was a dark movie. Though we all know today Brian Wilson has gotten control over so much of this. They really covered a lot of the stuff that he was dealing with Dr. Lundy. Who was the doctor who basically took ownership of Brian and then was forcing him to release an album, and he was almost like trying to be half of who Brian Wilson was. Right. Who's that actor? He was the guy that was in the movie Sideways.
Paul Giamatti.
Giamatti, that's right. I thought he did a great job too.
He's always great.
Yeah.
He's also in Lady in the Water.
Is he?
Uh-huh.
What is he in that?
He's the main guy. He's the groundskeeper. He's the maintenance guy.
I haven't seen that movie since we saw it at the theater when it came out. But...
That's M. Night Shyamalan's one of his bigger flops, which is incredible, even though it's actually a really good movie if you don't expect it to be The Sixth Sense. It's a fairy tale movie that he made for his kids. It's a story.
My favorite character though was the guy that only works out one arm.
Right. It's a story that he told his kids, and he turned it into a film. But it doesn't have big twists. It's not scary. It's weird. I mean, if you've ever seen Pan's Labyrinth, it kind of goes off into some weird territory like Pan's Labyrinth, and people just weren't expecting that. Right. I think it was his fourth movie. I think it came after The Village, which was a success. That was a success according to a lot of people.
But it disappointed a lot of people. The twist.
It's because he tried to sense it.
Don't give away the twist.
And
it's a twist.
And so that was one, and then I think he did Unbreakable before doing Lady in the Water.
When did he do Signs? Remember Signs with Mel Gibson?
Was that Shyamalan?
Yeah, it's a Shyamalan movie.
I don't remember. It also has Elizabeth Banks, the
love interest,
Brian Wilson.
Brian Wilson's most recent wife.
Yeah.
Anyway, in the end, I thought it was a good movie. I will wait till it comes out. I can't wait to see it again on Netflix. My wife would have no interest in that movie at all, and that's her interest in movies are substantially different than mine. Though oddly, I enjoy the movies she enjoys, but I enjoy other movies that don't always necessarily have a great ending.
Right.
Or movies that leave you a little out of breath and you're going, wow, that was rough. I like those. I like going on a little emotional ride.
Yeah, Lady in the Water, in 2006. It's one of those movies that you don't need to see in theaters. I don't think seeing it in theater adds anything to it.
This one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So wait till it comes out on Netflix or Redbox. Save a little bit of money there. Unless you absolutely want to see it in the theater. The theater that we went to the walls were a little thin, and so you could hear some of the action movie next door bleeding in. It's not an action movie, so that wasn't the best thing. But
never an opportunity to drown out the folks next door.
You know what though? I mean, there was a theater playing it in Greensboro,
right.
So I got to see it.
Can't complain. Can't complain too much. So one other interesting tidbit that's been in the news recently, and I don't have all the details of it, but did you follow this gal? She is the president, I think it's of a local, maybe it's a state chapter of the NAACP, and her family has come out to say that she's not black. Have you picked up on that?
Yeah. So
do you know more about it?
Not much. I know a couple of things, and for the sake of disclosure, we did record this 2 weeks ago, so if more has come out, we don't know. And more discussion has come out. But as of right now, the biggest thing is she is incredibly white, German heritage. I mean, if you look at her,
I don't think her color isn't incredibly white.
Yeah, no, not now.
She's tanning.
No.
She's tanning,
yeah.
or
if you look at wedding photos, she's incredibly white. She is she's a pale person. And is tanning herself, has let her hair grow long, and it has it in braids and has it up. And the biggest issue, though, is that she has lied several times about being black. She's hired someone to come in front of her students. She's a professor. Shown this person off as her father, as a black person. Her parents have said no. And the NAACP...
But who hasn't done it?
Yeah, I know.
Who hasn't hired a black man to represent their father?
I know I have. It was a seal.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so also mimicking my birthmark. So this is around the same time that in the news is this Bruce Jenner transformation into Caitlyn.
Yeah.
Caitlyn Jenner.
One of the things, though, real quick, that is the people that are talking about this have said is the NAACP it doesn't matter if she's black or white. That she doesn't have to be black to be a member. That's not an issue with them,
right?
Or a leader. That's not a problem with them. and I don't know what they've done, but
their causes,
right,
and yeah,
right. But the weirdest thing is that she's lied about it. She lied about it in a report, and her parents have now come out and said she is very much not black. It's fine. Reporters have asked her, do you consider yourself African American? No, but I do consider myself black. And they've kind of questioned that. So,
because she's black inside.
To Caitlyn Jenner, yeah.
So can you take a person who is biologically male and make that person a female? Is that what makes a person male or female? Is it your body parts?
Depending on who you talk to.
Or is it something else inside? And if it's something else inside, then the body parts don't matter. And if you feel like your body parts are mismatched, these days you can mimic the other body parts.
Right. So the conversation is, the argument is that gender is a social construct and it isn't necessarily biological, but it's how we choose to perceive our world. And some people will argue that there are upwards of 80 some different gender variations.
I'm sorry, how many?
80. I think it's like 84, 82, 84. Recognized.
We're going to have to add a link to this one because 80. Mm-hmm. Okay.
And so, those same people, some of those people argue that race is a social construct as well, that biologically, with very minor differences that are the differences you can have among people of the same race, or the same color, ethnicity, whatever, that race is social, that we're physiologically the same. And so, with the exception of color and maybe hair type and eye color and some of those things that do tend to stay consistent. And but by and large, we're the same. And so race is something that is argued is socially a social construct, that you can take someone like Eminem, who has been brought up and raised in an African American black community, and he would qualify as being more black on the social side than me.
If you never saw him, but you saw his bio and heard his music, you might assume that he is not white.
Right. Because that's because he conforms to that social structure and community. And so, yeah, the argument, the logical discussion, if you take those two, if you accept that sex or gender is a social identity, it's what you identify with yourself, and if you accept that race is a social construct, then the question is, if she believes herself to be black, is she black?
Is it still true, though, that white men can't jump?
Yes. Sadly. Woody Harrelson has taught us nothing.
So, yeah. Interesting topic.
He hasn't taught us much.
Interesting topic of discussion. I don't think that here in the comments we need to divide, because, I've seen a lot of really rude, unintelligent, insulting, immature comments on, social media in general. I think it'd be fun to have a conversation about this. None of us are really going to be able to decide this because none of us was asked to be the judge.
Sure. Clearly, within the community, within the pipe community, and within the YouTube community, there are people that feel very strongly one way or the other.
I would say we have at least 47 genders represented in the YouTube pipe community. Easily.
Yeah. I'm going to need a link for that. Yeah, I mean, there are people that believe absolutely that's true, and people that believe that's a load of poppycock, and so we can talk about it. Don't need to be mean.
I know with the whole Jenner thing, I'm of the opinion that Well, let me step back. If I were to sincerely believe that I am a canine, I don't know that it would help me to have my loved ones around me help me to get surgery to turn me into a dog. Right? Odds to me, I would think that that's something that needs to be worked on in a different way, not in a physical manifestation of dog parts.
Are you just trolling the internet?
Kind of in a way, I am. Yeah. What do you think? Should I go ahead and make the conversion to dog?
I don't care for dogs, so.
But hey, to be clear, I would be a male dog.
Well, that's one gender. You have 83 other options. I was nearly attacked by a dog yesterday.
Really? Where's that?
My house. Walked out back, trying to take Snickers, our golden retriever, out back in a black, looked like a Rottweiler. Dog started charging.
Why did you have to bring race into this?
Started charging. Well, I didn't realize that's the kind of dog you're going to be. I mean, the black dog can be whatever kind of dog he wants to be. Yeah, it started charging at us and barking, and I barked back at him. He started charging at us, and me and Snickers.
Was he on a leash?
No. There was no owner. He was wild. Charged at us from, probably 30 feet away, and took Snickers and started walking her back in. As he got closer, and he stopped and kind of backed up a little bit, and I took her in. He started coming again, barked at him again in the middle of our breezeway because I didn't want to open the door and risk him running into the house where Allison was feeding Augie and Ender was running around. And so I had to call the maintenance people. And
you're in an apartment complex.
Yeah, I guess the dog was out there for another hour and a half, 2 hours before something happened. I don't know. He had a collar, had a tag. Well, I wasn't going to get close to him. He chased him as I walked out to my car. Chased me as I walked out to my car, too. Yeah, that's scary.
That is scary. All right, so let's wrap this up.
Yes, please. It's hot.
Feel free to comment. I suspect that this will be one of those few videos where we'll reserve the right to delete comments. So let's be adults about this. But hey, by all means, share your opinion and maybe explain why.
Yeah.
Right? And we'll go from there. Thanks for joining us. This is a deep Markwood Men's Breakfast Club.
Super
wow.
Deep. Super deep.
Make it a great week, and we'll see you again next week.
Bye, guys.